Hey losers, I'm Coral. Welcome back to my channel. I've got a new reading chair, which I'm very excited about. Oh my god, it's so comfy. I can lounge on it. I can sit crisscross applesauce on it, which is like something I could not do with my other chair. So this one's very loungy. I can fit me plus a cat side by side on it. Anyway, hello, welcome to 2025. Long time no see. Oh my god, I haven't filmed a video in so long, it seems like. And I've got a lot to do today. So this is going to be a video where I share with you my TBR for January, but also some goals that I have to start the year out with and hopefully end the year off with too. I feel like I have been doing fairly well the last few years with making goals that are attainable and goals that aren't too overwhelming, because I do that to myself sometimes. I overwhelm myself and I don't really want to be about that, you know? So to start out here, I'd like to talk about some of my goals that I have for myself for this year as far as my reading life. Some of these are numerical, some of these are not, which I think also lends to me being more successful with things. So instead of saying I'd like to read 20 weird literary fiction books, I just simply made a goal for myself to explore more literary fiction books. So as far as the more numerical goals I have 4 goals where it's like I put numbers to them. So the first one is something that I'm starting out doing this year, which is to once a month, so as part of my TBR, I'm going to be, instead of choosing off my TBR cart, which I plan on still doing, I'm going to randomly pick a shelf, and on that shelf, I'm going to read the oldest book that I own that's on that shelf. So the book that I've owned for the longest, not the one with the oldest publication date. So I'm hoping to do that once a month. I also have my TBR jar picks once a month. And I'd like to try, I'm hoping to once a month reread a book that I'm hoping to include on my 50 favorites list. If you watched that, the first one I did was American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. So I think it's foolish to do that more than once a month, but if I can fit one in there to reread and be like, yes, this is my favorite, I would like to include this in the series, that'd be great. I also would like to read 125 books, which is a little less than my goal last year, which was to read 150, which I did it. So I'm really proud of myself, and now I know I can do it, and I'm gonna ease back a little bit. But like this goal, I don't know, it doesn't really bother me that much whether or not I complete it. So I don't know, it's just one that I make because it's on like every reading app that you use. Then as far as non-numerical goals I have a bunch of ALCs from Libro FM that I would like to get through. I'd like to read through some of the ebooks that I have on my e-reader because I don't have like a ton. I don't buy them a lot, but I do have some. So I don't ever think about them. And Zach bought me like a stand and a page turner for my Kindle for Christmas, so I'd like to utilize that. Like I said already, explore more weird lit fiction. I've bought some weird girl books recently and I'd like to get through them. I'd like to prioritize reading my TBR. So right now I'm not doing the Read What You Own challenge, but I'd like to focus on the books that I've owned prior to 2025. I'd also like to read more indie books. This is a goal I had for myself last year too. And I haven't put together my did I achieve these goals last year type of thing, but I think I did pretty well with that. And then another one I'm carrying forward from last year as well is I made a list of some indie presses I'd like to check out. These are indie presses that have published books that I'm interested in and I'd like to spend some money at their stores. So this includes Shortwave, Clash, Ghoulish Books, Valancourt, Fathom, and Encyclopocalypse. So those are some Fathom and Encyclopocalypse. I found they've been doing reprints of some vintage books, so that's very interesting to me. And Valancourt as well. So like 3 of those are presses reprinting vintage books, and 3 of those are just regular indie publishers. So I had that goal for last year. I ended up, I think, doing that twice, but also I have been spending less money on books. My book buying has been different in the last couple months. So those are my 2025 reading goals, and now let's get into the books that I've chosen to start the year out with. Okay, so 3 of these I am currently reading right now. The first one, before I forget, is The Deing by Nicholas Belardes. Questionable pronunciation on that name, but this is a book that came out last year. I had an arc of it and I was like, ooh, I did not read that. So I'm currently more than halfway through with it. I don't know about it, but I'm gonna finish it so I can write a good review for NetGalley. I'm also in the middle of, not quite in the middle of, but I've been reading Murder in the Family by Jeff Blackstock. This was a book that I pulled off of my randomized December TBR. This is about a man born in the 50s. His father was a Canadian diplomat living in Argentina, and his mother was very, very young when she became like violently ill and ended up passing away because of this mystery illness. The doctors weren't ever really sure exactly what happened to her, but also this was in like the 60s. I've gotten to the part now where she has died, and it's so frustrating seeing the excerpts of like her medical records where they're just like, she's demanding attention, she's hysterical, and it's like, yeah, she's been vomiting for 3 months straight and she is about to die. Like, this was days before she died, and they're like, she's hysterical, she just needs all this attention, and it's like, no one's listening to her, no one's helping her. It's so frustrating. So anyway, the point is that this man thinks his father might have murdered his mother. It's a little more slow going. It is nonfiction, of course, which does typically take me longer to read, but it still feels a little slow going even for nonfiction. But I would, I want to keep up with it. Then I've read 1 story so far in Human Monsters. This is an anthology edited by Sadie Hartmann and Ashley Saywers. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. I always thought it was Sawyers, but then I was looking at this and it's not Sawyers. At least it's not spelled typically like Sawyers would be. So I don't know how to pronounce her last name. This is a horror anthology about human monsters. I read the first story in it. It was very strange. I enjoyed it. It was by Sam Rebeline, and it's got a pretty cool TOC. Stories from Gemma Amore, Nat Cassidy, V. Castro, Andrew Cull, Andy Davidson, Laurel Hightower, C.S. Humble, Jeremy Robert Johnson. Who else is recognizable to me? Cynthia Pelayo, S.P. Miskowski, Josh Mallerman, Chad Lutsky, Samantha Coyle-Lesnick. Like, there's a ton of killer authors that I already like in here, so I know I'm going to find some more that will be interesting to me. Then, and also, I meant to do this last year and I did not. I've got 3 volumes of Saga. I'd like to read at least 3 this month because I have the 2 newest volumes and I haven't read them because I'm like, oh, but I need to reread through this first, and then I didn't fucking do that. So dumb. So that's for sure going to happen this month. And the last book that I've chosen for myself before we get to my random stuff, this is I'm Sorry If I Scared You by Mae Murray. And this is about a college-age woman who is driving back to her hometown during Thanksgiving break. She has suffered from an assault and became pregnant because of that. So she is going through a pill-induced abortion on her way home, and psychedelic thing. It seems like some real weird stuff, like some real crazy things start to happen because of, I don't know, this fetus. She like rescues it, quote unquote. I don't know, teaches her to live a really cool life. I don't know, it sounds really weird, really fun. One of my most anticipated from last year. It's gonna be a blast. Also, look at this artwork. I also love this naked hardcover. I don't know what it reminds me of. Something, I mean, not the picture, but like the naked hardcover thing. It reminds me of something, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking just of like a textbook, but I really like that. I like that there's no dust jacket to worry about, and I can read it, and it has this cool design on it, and I don't have to worry about busting up the dust jacket. It's just beautiful. Okay, now what do? I do my TBR, my jar, and then I do my oldest book on the shelf. This first one I'm not randomizing. I just figured I would start with the first shelf in my nonfiction section, and then after that I think I'm going to come up with a dice roll kind of thing after this, but I didn't do that yet. And also I was thinking, if I do finish everything here, which I anticipate being able to do, I think I'll probably do some more of my random picks from December, because I only got through, I think, 5 of those. 5 randomized ones. I've actually read more than 5 from there since I took the time to wrap all those. Maybe I should do that. So anyway, okay, let me go get my shit. Okay, I'm back, and one of these is unwrapped. Whatever, let's grab a random star. Oh my god. I mean, there are quite a few green stars in here, but I feel like all I ever grab is green, which is horror, usually. I mean, not all horrors are green, but all greens are horror, if you know what I mean. Another Fear Street or a point horror, I don't know. But this is The Hitchhiker by RL Stine, which is right back here. Oh, and this one I rescued from Zach Scramey's school library after she died. So that makes it kind of special. This is a book that she was a school teacher. She had a school in her basement. She died a couple years ago, but I know I talked about it because she was just like a really fucking wonderful person. And she had a bunch of stuff in her school still in the basement. It wasn't really like a basement though, like it had windows and shit. I don't know, it's just like the lower level of their house. But she had a bunch of books back there still. They hadn't cleared it out since like she stopped teaching there. And she had some point horrors and some Fear Streets that I rescued, and some Goosebumps, and this is one of them, The Hitchhiker. The synopsis says, he wants a ride. She wants a thrill. So in spite of her best friend Terry's arguments, Christina stops to pick up the handsome Hitchhiker. He's everything she thought he'd be, and more. Much, much, much more. Maybe too much more. Maybe enough to throw Christina and Terry to death. What did she think he would be? That's so silly. Looks kind of like a corpse hand. But I know it's not. Okay, and now to the new thing that I'm doing for my monthly TBR, which is to pick a shelf and to read the oldest book that lives on that shelf. The book I've owned for the longest, I should specify, not the oldest publication date. So let's see what this is. For now, I'm just going to do the first shelf in my nonfiction section. So we're talking about, oh my god, I'm just gonna carry my fucking thing over here. This is the shelf we're talking about. I've got this, I don't know, what is this thing? I don't know, something my mom gave me. I can't remember what it's called, but when she was a kid. And I think that might be blocking the book that I'm looking for. Here it is, the oldest book on that specific shelf. I have to quit saying that. It's the book I've owned for the longest on that specific shelf. This is Escape by Carolyn Jessop, with Laura Palmer. And this is a nonfiction book about Carolyn's life. She grew up in, I believe, the FLDS, was forced to marry an old man when she was very young, and this is her story. So it's a memoir. I've owned this for a while. It's got some sticky notes in it, but I looked at them. They're just like markers. They're not like full sticky notes, but I don't have anything written on them. I bought this as a used copy. I don't know. I can't remember if it came from, I feel like it might have either been a library book sale or my local used bookstore. I've had this for quite some time. I don't even know when I bought this. I think I've owned this since before I moved in, before we moved into our house. So it's been quite some time. But not one I've owned like since I was a teenager or anything. Maybe I should read the back of this, the inside of it. It's blurb by John Krakauer, who I love. It says, when she was 18 years old, Carolyn Jessop was coerced into an arranged marriage with a total stranger, a man 32 years her senior. Merrill Jessop already had 3 wives, but arranged plural marriages were an integral part of Carolyn's heritage. She was born into and raised in the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the FLDS, the radical offshoot of the Mormon Church that had settled in small communities along the Arizona-Utah border. Over the next 15 years, Carolyn had 8 children and withstood her husband's psychological abuse and the watchful eyes of his other wives, who were locked in a constant battle for supremacy. So, I'm not sure how this ends for her. I'm assuming she's out of there now, right? If she's able to write a book about that. It's called Escape. So I'm gonna assume yes, actually, now that I think about it. Anyway, okay, so these are my books that I'm planning on reading in January. Kind of a strange assortment this month, but I don't know. I really like the idea of reading books that I've owned for the longest. Is something I really need to do. Because some of these books have just been sitting and sitting and sitting, and I haven't unhauled them. So I know I want to read them, so I should just do that. So here we go. Let me know what you think of this idea. That's it for today. Or for this video. I have so much fucking more shit to film today. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope your year starts off wonderfully. I'd love to know if you have any goals for yourself, reading wise or not. That's okay if you want to share them. I do have some non-reading goals, but I don't know if anyone gives a shit about that. So let me know your goals. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought about them. Let me know, I don't know, what else? What your favorite book you read last year was, if you could choose just one. I'm not sure what my favorite one is, but I'm sure I'll be talking about that at some point today on a different video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you later. Goodbye.